Alrighty, happy Sunday night, everybody. I'm NBC Connecticut meteorologist Anthony Carpino. Thanks for joining me on the stream. We're going to talk about conditions as we go through tonight. Chilly out there, depending on where you are. We'll have the potential for some freezing rain, maybe some flurries as well. We're going to take a look at radar and then everything eventually changing over just a plain old rainfall by tomorrow morning. And we're going to start to warm things up as well. So as always, if you have any questions about the forecast, make sure you're asking in the comments section and I can pull that up in front of me here. And we can all have a chat about what we can expect for the rest of tonight. So let's take a live look at Doppler radar across Connecticut, where you can see the radar is actually trying to indicate some snowfall going on as well. Now, it's really just going to be a matter of how much warm air has started to work its way overhead and over Connecticut versus those colder temperatures that we know, because we've seen it all day at ground level. So I want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you guys are seeing. It is definitely reaching the ground. It's a little stretch here from New Britain, Southington, West Hartford, Burlington, and then you can see that changeover, to that freezing rain as you get into northwestern Connecticut. So let me know what you guys are seeing out there as we head through tonight, this band of moisture that's starting to move through the region. And we still got some more off to our west that also has to work its way through Connecticut. Now, I'll just say this at the beginning. This isn't expected, and we haven't been saying it's going to be a big, impactful storm. But whenever we're talking about ice, that can cause some issues for us, mainly when we're talking about the roadways there. So Nick asked, will we lose power from the storm? He's out there in Madison, and likely not. So that's some good news for us, Nick. Likely not having to worry about power outages as we go through tonight. What we'll have to end up worrying about a little bit there is going to be those road conditions as we head through this evening as well. Of course, a lot of the roads are treated already because of all the snow that we just got. So that's good news for us. And what's also good news is our temperatures have stayed cold, which is good because anything that's fallen so far hasn't washed away any of that salt or anything that's on the roadways there. So the roads are treated. That is good news for us. As we head through tonight, though, we'll start to warm things up. That will cause some melting. We have the freezing rain at the same time. So yes, the potential for some slippery spots is definitely going to be there with us. And I think that's what I'm worried about a little bit more than most there. Lori says it is raining in Torrington. Lori, let me know what temperature it is where you are, because that actually might be some freezing rain going on as well. Robert says it's 29 degrees in Voluntown. Eastern Connecticut, most of the state has been very stubborn in trying to warm up today. It was wicked cold last night. We had temperatures single digits, not only for a couple locations. It got a little bit colder than I thought it would actually. That's really thanks to clear skies, calm winds, and that fresh snowpack that we have on the ground there. So I was forecasting 9 degrees at Bradley, and it dropped a little bit colder than that there. Jennifer said more ice expected than previously predicted. It's 27 in Summers. Jen, we really haven't changed that forecast all that much. We can talk about numbers and that kind of thing, but the big takeaway that I want you guys to have as we go through tonight is just that potential for some slippery spots out there. So when we talk about ice, a lot of what I would think of is, jumping right to power outages. So we're not getting enough ice where we have to worry about power outages across the state. The wind will pick up, and that, could be blowing by Tuesday at like 40 miles per hour. But as far as the ice concerns for tonight, a glaze to about 0.2 of an inch. And it's really as you get above 1/4 of an inch that you really start to have some issues. And fortunately, we're not in northern New England because they actually have some ice storm warnings that are in place right now. Let's actually pull up the alerts across the Northeast. You can see a lot of winter weather advisory that is actually now including the entire state of Connecticut. The Weather Service, they've been slowly adding to that. And then earlier this afternoon, they pulled the trigger and put the alert out for the entire state. What I want to bring your attention to is in sections of northern New York and areas in Vermont, especially the eastern half of Vermont, right in the Connecticut River Valley there, that dark shade almost looks like a black kind of color. It's supposed to be purple, but that darker shade of color there, that is a ice storm warning. So they could end up seeing, well, first of all, gusty winds and all of that ice potential, 0.4 of an inch to 7/10 of an inch. That has the potential to bring down tree limbs, power lines. You throw some wind on top of that, and they could be talking about scattered or widespread outages. And then you start talking about road conditions as well. So good news for us. We're not expecting that much ice or that wind at first there. So we are going to be on the lower end of the spectrum here. What I really want you guys to be just cognizant about is if you're out on the roads tonight, just make sure that you're traveling traveling slow, because we have that treatment down right now, and that already makes the roadways look, like they have like a little bit of like something on there, but you get a little bit of wet conditions. Things can ice up really quickly, and it doesn't take that long to have problems when you're talking about ice. So just be cautious out there. Lori says it's 28. So Lori, that's probably some freezing rain for you. Let me know as we kind of go through this. If you notice, you probably won't tell right away, but if you notice anything, sticking to the trees, or if your car is outside and it's been parked for a little while, if you start to see a little bit of coating on your car there. So just something to keep in mind there. 31 degrees in Shelton. So you guys are right on that cusp there, rain or freezing rain. And we'll get into how freezing rain works here in just a second. Jill wants to know, will it be bad traveling around 8 o'clock tomorrow morning? Back to work. Yes, back to work after the Christmas holiday there. So good news for folks that are going to work tomorrow morning. I think the roads are going to be fine for us. And the reason I say that is because after we get past midnight, that is when we start to warm things up a little bit. So our low temperature tonight, more or less into the upper 20s, really just depends on where you are around the state. But our low temperature, so I'm forecasting 29 degrees for the Hartford area, the low for tonight, if you will. That is actually going to be at midnight tonight. And then we warm up from there. So by about 8 o'clock in the morning or so, we're actually going to notice those temperatures well above freezing. I'll show you the planner for tomorrow. So there it is. So the planner for tomorrow goes something like this. Temperature-wise, 39 degrees for tomorrow morning's commute. So that's above freezing for us. You don't have to worry about any of those icing concerns there. And then we'll see the temperatures continue to warm into the lower 40s, low to mid 40s by the afternoon. And we just stick with plain old rainfall throughout the day. Then we'll notice the wind pick up, and we'll notice those temperatures behind the cold front really crash as we head through the next couple of days. So is it freezing on the ground? Yes. So you're exactly right. So it is freezing on the ground as it falls through the air a little bit here. Let me pull up this handy dandy graphic. And this will kind of help paint the picture a little bit better than me trying to explain it. So I'll take this full screen. This is if you were to take a slice of the atmosphere, right? So on a nice warm day, when you have rain falls from the sky, and it passes through that warm layer, and that would just be all rain. The opposite side of that spectrum there, like the other day when it was pretty cold out there, the snowflakes fall from the clouds, and it just stays snow all the way to the ground. Where it gets tricky is when we start to introduce some colder air. So you have your cloud base, it's snowing high up in the atmosphere. Now those snowflakes start to pass through a warmer layer of air, around 32 degrees, could be a little bit warmer. Those snowflakes will melt all the way through, just plain old liquid there, but then they pass through, getting closer to the ground, a cold layer of air, and the rain droplets don't have enough time to freeze and turn into sleet like they would do over here. But what they do is that since the ground is still cold, those raindrops will freeze on contact. So that's where we get freezing rain from. Sleet, you just have more time for those water droplets to turn back into an icy mix there, and that's where you can get sleet kind of pinging off your car. So those are kind of the differences there between rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow. So that's kind of the way that you can think about it going through tonight. Judy says 24 degrees in Putney, Vermont there. Yeah, so you guys are going to be in for some freezing rain for sure. And I forget Putney, if that's in Valley or if that's some of the higher elevations there too. So Vermont there, you guys are going to really have to be keeping an eye on the forecast there, and New Hampshire as we head through tonight, and upstate New York as well, and northern sections of New York. Let's take another look at radar. I want to show you guys, if you were to kind of wipe away all the fancy stuff here. Just go back to our straight radar data. So this helps us look at where the heaviest of that precipitation is falling. So that's actually moving. It just moved through the West Hartford area. Now getting closer to downtown Hartford, stretching up through the north end of Hartford, Bloomfield, Simsbury, stretching along Route 309 to 179 Barkhamsted, going up toward the reservoir there, Heartland, and then off into Tolland, Mass. So that ribbon is really where we're showing that heavier precip, and that actually stretches south of Hartford and kind of follows that Route 9 corridor all the way down to the Connecticut shoreline. When we talk about the specific type of precipitation that we're seeing, again, the radar wants to suggest snow. I'm just still wondering how much we're starting to see, change over. Is it all cold air all the way through the entire column, or are we getting warm air and that's starting to melt things down a little bit? So again, let me know what you guys are seeing out there right now. No rain yet in Wallingford. Okay, good to know. So that just kind of swept through you guys pretty quickly then. Let's see, Torrington, Harwinton line. My deck is an ice skating rink when I just let the dog out. Yeah, so that all just moved right through you guys not that long ago. So yeah, just make sure you're staying safe out there. Take it slow. Seeing ice in Milford. James, thanks so much for that update there. Let's see. Oh, so Judy said, okay, yeah, so Putney, Connecticut River, that's what I thought. Yeah, so yeah, just make sure that, if you don't have to go out tonight anywhere, even in Connecticut, just spend some time indoors as we head through tonight, because guys, by tomorrow morning, we're not gonna have to worry about ice, at least the forecast here for Connecticut. Judy, for you in Vermont, your winter weather is going to last just a little bit longer than us here in southern New England. Meriden, what do we got? All right, let's take a look at Meriden. Looks like everything just swung through you guys right now. So take a look outside. Let me know what you guys are seeing out there. Temperatures. Temperatures are very important for us going through tonight. So let me find some temperatures to talk about here. We'll start with the statewide level here. So right now, Hartford, 31 degrees. That's actually the warmest it's been all day. And here we are at 7:45 at night. That is the warmest it's been all day long. Windsor Locks is coming in at 28. That's also the warmest it's been there all day, but still below freezing. So freezing rain for Windsor Locks, Hartford, potentially Meriden and Middletown. You get to the shoreline, now you're talking places like Groton, you're at 34. New Haven's now at 36. So if it's raining out there, if it looks like it's raining out there now, well, it is actually raining there. But we switch it to this batch of temperatures, and this sensor is a little bit different from the one I just showed you, and that shows slightly cooler. So it is going to be very dependent on your location. If you're in one of those pockets that just holds on to that cold air longest, you'll likely see a little bit more in the way of freezing rain. But Bridgeport, Milford, East Haven, all at, or actually Bridgeport's at 33 now, but right around that freezing point. Same thing for downtown New Haven there. Westbrook's at 33. Same thing. Guilford, Brantford. You get to Newtown, you get to Middlebury. You guys are into the upper 20s at 28 degrees. Wallingford, Durham, 31. Haddam, Cheshire, you guys are at about 30 degrees. So it's chilly out there. And let me see if I can grab our other, just bear with me here. Let me see if I can find the other maps for the rest of Connecticut, because I want to go through some of those other more detailed temperatures. Just one sec to pull that up. All right, let's start in northeastern Connecticut. So we did Hartford area. Let's go to northeastern Connecticut there. Coventry, freezing rain, but potentially moving into your guys' area pretty soon at 29 degrees. You go to Manchester, to Hebron. Two locations there for Hebron, actually 29, 30 degrees, 30 in Vernon, 28 in Somers, 29 in Ashford, and about 31 in Lisbon. And Hartford, I did Hartford already. Actually, I mentioned Hartford. I didn't. Oh, that's the wrong one. That feels like temperatures. Well, it feels even cooler. It feels more like the 20s. That's not the one I wanted to show, but stand by. Southwest Connecticut. East. Let's go to the southeast shore here real quick. Old Saybrook, about 34. North Stonington close to about 31, so you go a little bit away from the sound. You're a little bit cooler there. Lyme's at about 30, and same thing with Salem. Ty says, how about Bloomfield? No rain right now. Okay, so let me know. Well, let me know what you're seeing out there, because it looked like we had that little band kind of move through your area. So let me know if you can kind of peek out the window. Let me know what you guys are seeing there. Let's go back to radar, talk about some other towns. So we mentioned the temperatures there. So chilly and maybe some snow, but I'm still not sure about that. Let's try to pull in some cameras here. So there's a live look over Bridgeport where you guys had all of that move through a little while ago. Let me change this to Hartford here. Let's see if we can see anything. Well, that's Bradley. So it looks like you can see some stuff in the lights there. Let's try to get to downtown Hartford. And the camera's just zoomed out a little bit too far. Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell, isn't it? So let me jump to Litchfield, because I know I had that camera zoomed in earlier, right at one of the streetlights. Hopefully it's still zoomed in. And you can see on some of the tree branches there, everything is kind of glistening a little bit. So you can kind of see that more or less kind of right about there. But earlier you could really see that the rain was coming down at a pretty good clip. Let's actually try. Let's go back to Hartford, but let me try the Yard Goats camera there. Very festive look. I know we don't show the Yard Goats cam that much in the wintertime, but a very festive look. Green and blue there, the light set up there in the infield. Again, it's kind of hard to see with that perspective, but we'll keep an eye on some of the cameras as we go through tonight. Just let me know kind of what you guys are seeing, if you can kind of peek out the window. Let's see here. Matthew wants to know, is it going to be on and off? Pretty much, actually, Matthew. So we'll go take a look at radar again for this to load. So as you can see, it's not like the other day when we had that snow event where it was just kind of snowing the whole time and we got heavier bursts. This is going to be kind of on and off, maybe some mistier conditions at times, and then we see that start to pick up again. But right now, that heaviest band is kind of stretching in the Hartford area. So we should have been able to see it on the Hartford camera there, but it might have actually just crossed over the river into East Hartford. If it's not at the airport just yet, where's the airport there? There's Route 20. This should be getting really close to Bradley. So we'll jump to the Bradley camera in just a little bit there. Haddam, Old Saybrook, you guys are seeing a little bit of that happening right now. And then we point back to Western Connecticut. So Kent, New Milford, Danbury, Torrington, likely still seeing a little bit of that freezing rain ongoing. And if you're wondering why this image keeps changing, you can see that the radar at this perspective is coming out of Long Island. And when we change it over, that's the perspective from the Albany radar there. So what's interesting to note here is that we're having a lot more precipitation higher up into the atmosphere that's actually evaporating a little bit because there's still some dry air that's trying to get pushed out of here. So when I switch that back to Long Island, that radar beam is a little bit lower and it's not picking up on anything. That's why we have some of those blank spaces versus New York, Albany versus Long Island there. So that just tells me that we're still dealing with some dry air. So some of this may not be reaching the ground. But again, let me know what you guys are seeing as you're stepping outside or if you're kind of peeking outside. Rich says Torrington freezing rain and 28 degrees. 28 will definitely cause freezing rain for you there. Let's see. Will that big line of rain off to the west end up reaching Connecticut? So great question there. Let's switch this back to the composite, and this will take a look kind of around the region a little bit. So this is a decent system. So this actually stretches all the way back into Indiana, where they actually have some tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings right now. That cold front strong cold front will reach Connecticut by tomorrow afternoon. We're not expecting severe weather, and we're really not even expecting a thunderstorm from it, but just plain old rainfall. So that line will end up reaching Connecticut later on tomorrow. But for now, we're still dealing with some slippery spots out there. Dave says, glaze of ice on my deck in North Guilford. So yeah, even North Guilford there along the shoreline, seeing some of that, a little bit of that ice out there. Steve says nothing here. Steve, let me know where you're watching from. And then Patrick wants to know, is the rain going to be on and off tomorrow? So yes, it will. It's not going to rain the entire day for tomorrow. What we'll notice is some showers in the morning. That front moves in later on, like mid-morning or so. And then we start to make some improvements later on into the day. Let me see. Where did I put future radar? Did I turn it off? There it is. All right. So this particular model might be overdone just a little bit, but I still think it gets the point across there. So potentially some snowflakes for some right now. That's kind of what we've been seeing. This band works its way through the region. Notice how the colors here, and this is why I think it's like overdone just a little bit. Notice how we have that darker kind of shading of pink, more or less, in that area, and it turns a little bit lighter near Bridgeport, Danbury. See that difference in shading there? So that's the model kind of suggesting that we'll still have some freezing rain kind of mixed in still, but the heaviest batch is moving into eastern Connecticut. So that line is what we're watching right now move through the Hartford area. So moving further to the east. So that is actually spot on right now, but it's just a little bit, it's just blown up a little bit more. So I think we get maybe possibly a little bit of a break. Get rid of those lines. Oops. Get rid of those lines there. Come on. You can do it. There it is. All right. So we move through tonight. So we get a little bit of a break at times in western Connecticut, and then just some patchy drizzle and patchy freezing rain as we head through that overnight period. And you can see as everything pretty much comes to an end by tomorrow morning, but there comes that cold front side of this. So this is about mid-morning or so. That slides through. And then as we go through the evening tomorrow, we start to clear things out. But that is when we're going to notice that wind start to pick up a little bit more for us. So as far as that wind speed goes, check this out. So we'll start the clock here. Once this loads, we'll start the clock at 8 o'clock in the morning. So we're noticing already those winds starting to pick up a little bit there. By the afternoon tomorrow in the evening, winds could be gusting, maybe let's say up to about 30 miles per hour or so. Especially for some of those spots in the higher elevations. Then as we head through Monday night into Tuesday, well, by Tuesday afternoon, we can end up seeing those winds gust anywhere from about 30 and to 40 miles per hour. So it is a strong cold front that will be moving through tomorrow afternoon for us. Then as we head through portions of Tuesday, in addition to that wind, that front will kind of disturb everything, we'll notice that the temperatures will also crash as we head into Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on as we wrap up December and we get into January there. So how about, hopefully that answered your question, Patricia, about how tomorrow will be. So not having to worry about freezing rain or ice conditions there for the morning drive on Monday. We'll still have the potential for some rain on and off throughout, especially the first half of the day. And then the evening commute tomorrow, we should be in good shape there. The wind will help dry out the roads. So I know I had a question yesterday about a flash freeze Monday into Tuesday. I still don't think we'll have to worry about that, mainly because that wind will dry out the roadways. So I think we'll be okay there. Brian wants to know 5 a.m. or so, will the roads be okay? Brian, let me know where you're watching from and where you're going to be driving to. If you're in those typical spots that stay cold the longest, there could be a little bit of a glaze still in certain areas, but that's going to be really with untreated roadways and with really cold temperatures that get locked in there. So a couple of things have to happen by that time to still have some of those slipperier spots, but just make sure either way that you're staying cautious, please. No, no wind, please. We lose power every time. That can be frustrating for sure, Bailey. So just giving you a heads up now. Yes, unfortunately, we'll have to deal with some wind by tomorrow afternoon and lasting through Tuesday. So Brian said Newington to Yukon working. So Newington to Yukon. So you're taking the 515 to 84 Northern Connecticut and then hopping over. I still think you'll be okay. Just make sure that you're not, driving too fast on the roadways there, especially as you get into Eastern Connecticut. If you're under those, side roads out there in stores and they're just not treated, there could be some slippery spots. But overall, if you're traveling on the interstates by tomorrow morning, I think we'll be in good shape there. So thanks for that quick response. Naugatuck to New London tomorrow, 4 a.m. Trying to think Naugatuck to New London, the way that you would go. Would you just take Route 8 down to 95? There has to be another way down there. Either way, just make sure, especially when you're leaving Naugatuck and you're kind of working your way down to the shore, by 4 a.m., I think the shoreline will be in much better shape. Let me pull up, because I know everyone's going to start asking about travel directions and that kind of stuff. So before we go any further, let me pull up the actual map that will show everyone's conditions there. So hold your travel questions for a second here, and let's go through future temperatures. So right now we have temps in Northern Connecticut still in the 20s. We're already flirting with the lower 30s along the shoreline there. So any travel along I-95 as we move past about, let's say, 9 or 10 p.m. tonight, we should start to warm things up a little bit more. In fact, by midnight, we could see those temperatures approaching 40 degrees. By 3 a.m., 4, 5 a.m., look at those temperatures there. So warming right up. So, so if you're traveling by 6 a.m., that's 6 a.m. now, I think we're going to be in good shape. So I'm seeing a lot of questions on here. Meg said 91, 95. Key is saying Willimantic to Norwich, 8 a.m. I think we'll be in much better shape. By 4 a.m., I think we'll be in good shape there, because you can see those temperatures hanging on to the low 40s already by 6. And even if I back this up, excuse me, guys. Let's see, that's 4 a.m. So Groton, Stonington, 45 degrees. So I think early morning travel, I think we're going to be okay. So I think you guys are going to be in good shape there. As always, if you think the roads might be a little bit slick where you are, just don't drive as fast. Ice can be tricky no matter what, but just make sure you're not going overly fast out there, especially if you're in that transition time frame. I think if you're concerned about traveling, it should be more or less between roughly now and through, let's call it about 1 a.m. or so. After we get past about 1, 2 a.m., much of this data is starting to warm up, but there still definitely could be a few pockets out there. So just be cautious if you're heading out on the roadways. Again, we're not expecting a ton of ice. We're not expecting high ice totals or rain totals right now, but it could still just be enough, like some of you had mentioned, just to create a slippery glaze out there. And that, if you're walking, if you're driving, it all results in the same, that you could be sliding around. So just be cautious if you're having to head out either tonight or tomorrow morning. I think by all of us across the board, so I see John, I'm in Shelton. What about 7 a.m.? Especially as we get closer after sunrise, I don't think we have to worry about the roads at all. We'll have to just kind of deal with driving in the rain for on and off portions of the morning. So kind of just keep that in mind there. So John, good question about that time frame. Let's continue walking through those temperatures, because temperatures warming to the 40s. That's not good for our snowpack out there. 8 a.m., look at these temps. 46, Groton, New London. 45, 48, Middletown, Chester. 50 in Groton. That is going to cause some melting for that nice snowpack that we have out there. But take a look at what happens as we move past about 1, 2 o'clock Monday afternoon. those temperatures, that front moves through and that starts to drop those temperatures down. So by 3 in the afternoon tomorrow, Colebrook, Torrington, New Milford, you guys are already falling back to the 30s, while Stonington, Groton, you guys are hanging on to the mid 40s. So a bit of a temperature gradient across the state tomorrow afternoon. And then we really see those temperatures. Look at that. By 8 p.m., by roughly this time tomorrow, we're right back down into the 20s. And then we just continue, look at that, to cool 5, 6, 7 a.m. on Tuesday. And we're back to those cold temperatures in the teens and the 20s. So yeah, pretty chilly. Those cold temperatures are going to return for us. And they're likely going to stick around through the new year as well. So let's take a look at that 10-day forecast. What you can expect for tonight and the next several days. So tonight, temperatures, the low temperature, remember, is roughly at midnight tonight. And that high temperature, likely the early afternoon or the latter half of the morning there. So that traditional time of when we see our morning low temperature and our afternoon high, it's going to be a little bit different. By mid-afternoon tomorrow, we're likely falling back already to some spots of the state into the 30s. So that 45 degrees is not going to be the entire day. It's likely going to be for either the first half of the morning or the latter half, the latter half of the morning and the early part of the afternoon. And you can see that big drop, though, in temperature by Tuesday afternoon high only of 29. And then we stay into either the upper mid-20s or lower 30s for the rest of that 10-day forecast. New Year's Day on Thursday, waking up to temperatures into the teens. So if you're heading down to New York City or if you're going to any other outdoor event for New Year's Eve, either in the city or here in Connecticut, you're going to want to bundle up for sure, especially New York, because you guys got to get in line early, and that's a whole process there. I saw a couple questions kind of pass by a little bit here, but asking about our next snow potential. So for New Year's Day, I think there could be a few flurries around. That's about it for our snow chances. As we head into Monday of the following week, though, we'll keep an eye on that chance for some snow showers. There are definitely, this far out, there's definitely some disagreement about what we can end up seeing, but I felt confident enough that we could put snow showers on the 10-day forecast for that following Monday. First full week there of January. So we'll keep an eye on that, but those temperatures look to remain chilly, either the upper 20s or lower 30s, and morning temperatures in the mid to upper teens. Quinn wants to know, is the precipitation lighter than forecast from yesterday? I would say it stayed roughly the same. I think we just got a better idea of who would end up seeing the most, especially for northern New England. So going back to, let's see, let's go back to the alerts here. So some of the things that, everyone was watching was temperature. So your temperature is going to be key. It doesn't matter if you get a lot of precip, a little bit of precip. If you get freezing rain, you're going to have some problems. So at one point, if you remember, those winter weather advisories were only issued in northern Connecticut. And then slowly but surely, the rest of the state got filled in. And then they added the ice storm warnings up through sections of Vermont, New York, and then some winter storm warnings as well. So confidence grew in our temperatures remaining on the colder side, and that's why we see those alerts all the way to the Connecticut shoreline and even through sections, actually all of Long Island there. So our confidence grew in those temperatures, staying cold throughout the day and staying cold at least for enough time along the shoreline to have a little bit of an icy glaze, and then taking a look at that precipitation there. So we were saying kind of from the beginning, a glaze to about 1/10 of an inch, and then we did up it to about 2/10 of an inch, mainly really just focused in on northern Connecticut, because with that band that's actually moving through right now, that had that potential to bring just a little bit more precip there. So better safe than sorry. So we did bump it to about 2/10 of an inch. Let's pull up radar one more time, and we can see what's going on right now. So let's put this in the motion here. This is the last 2-hour loop, and you can see where we have some of the heaviest of that precipitation kind of falling right now. So for stuff that is in Connecticut, you can see that band actually moved through the Windsor area. So let's put a pin in this real quick, and let me switch this back to our Bradley camera. I forgot to go back and check it out. Yes, you can see actually, it's just out of frame. So take a look at, this is just out of frame. That's a little frustrating. So take a look. It's right there at the bottom of the corner. You can see it coming down pretty good. And that's definitely, it looks a little bit like rain for sure. And it's always hard to tell when you're that far away from the light. I don't think that's snow. I think that's mainly just freezing rain. But you can see it in the distance in the lights at Bradley, kind of off to the side there. A little bit of, a little bit of a shine on either portions of the runway. Oh, we got a little plane coming in too. How about that? So that's what we're seeing out there right now. Let me know if you guys have any other questions here. Oh, I wish that view was a little bit better. I wish we could move that camera. I have to talk to the folks downstairs about that. Let's see. I'm trying to think where I have the other cameras placed, if we could see anything else. Go back to radar here really quick. I'm a visual person. I need to see the maps in front of me. Let's try New London. Let's see if New London is seeing anything just yet. Go back to our camera. Switch this to New London. Anything yet? It's tough to tell. I don't see anything in the lights, but we're going to keep an eye on things as we head through this evening, guys, and we'll keep you posted. Again, the big takeaway for you guys, a glaze to 0.2 of an inch of ice. We're not talking about anything major, just enough that we could have some slippery spots as we head through tonight. The morning commute for Monday, we're in much better shape. Our temperature's well above freezing, and then we'll end up having just some on and off rain showers, maybe some moderate rain with that cold front moving in. It turns breezy for us as we head through Monday afternoon. Colder as well after seeing temperatures in the 40s for the latter half of the morning. And then, yes, staying cool for us as we head into 2026. That is going to do it for me here on Facebook Live as well as on YouTube. Thanks so much for watching, and a big thanks to everyone for all of the questions and some of the feedback that we've been seeing out there today. Of course, if you have any more questions, you can always find me on social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, all those places. You can just search Meteorologist Anthony Carpino, or you can search WX Carpino, and that's another way that you can find me there too. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Have a great night.